our Across the Aisle segment tonight, Democratic Congressman Danny Davis from Illinois praised radical hate preacher Louis Farrakhan, calling him an outstanding human being. Now keep in mind, Farrakhan blamed Jews for 9/11. Farrakhan has called white people white devils and said white people should die. And Farrakhan said Adolf Hitler was a very great man. Worst of all, this Democratic congressman said he didn't view Farrakhan as an aberration. So is this the new normal in the Democratic Party then? With me now, history professor and author of Obama's America, Ian Reifowitz. Ian, good to see you, friend.
Good to see you again, Liz.
All right, Ian, this is the statement from Democratic Congressman Danny Davis. He said, "I don't regard Louis Farrakhan as an aberration or anything. I regard him as an outstanding human being who commands a following of individuals who are learned and articulate, and he plays a big role in the lives of thousands and thousands of people." Ian, this was even more troubling to me than the fact that he called him an outstanding human being. He said that he wasn't an aberration. My question to you, is this becoming the new normal in the Democratic Party, this type of radical, hateful extremism?
Well, Danny Davis is wrong. Louis Farrakhan is an aberration, and what he said was hateful. And we see hate, unfortunately, all across the political spectrum. We saw Donald Trump say that Mexican immigrants were rapists who brought crime and drugs. And he went on to be nominated over 16 other people to be the choice of the Republican Party for its candidate for president. And he was elected president. That is a hateful statement as well. And I'm not going to tell you that all Republicans agree with him, because I don't think they do. I don't think many of them agree with him. But that's a hateful statement. And whether or not you want to say Donald Trump is either an aberration or an outstanding human being is one thing. Louis Farrakhan is neither of those things. Danny Davis was wrong. He should have denounced him rather than praised him, just like Republicans should denounce Donald Trump's hateful statements.
The fact that you would compare Donald Trump to a radical hate preacher like Louis Farrakhan, who blamed 9/11 on Jewish people, called for the death of white people, said that gay people in our country should be beheaded. The fact that you compare a radical hate preacher like that to Donald Trump shocks me. But if he is an aberration, I would like to believe that he is. I would like to believe that this poisonous hatred is not a large part of our political system on either side of the aisle. I'm having a hard time believing that because 21 members of the Congressional Black Caucus who visited with Farrakhan in 2005, 21 members were contacted and refused to disavow Farrakhan. How can you argue that he is an aberration if 21 Democratic members of Congress won't disavow him?
How about Representative Steve Scalise? He's the third in the House Republican leadership. He said, he bragged, "I'm David Duke without the baggage." He made a speech at David Duke's organization in 2002. When the news came out, he was a little embarrassed, but nobody forced him out of the House Republican leadership. Danny Davis is not in the Democratic leadership. Steve Scalise is above all other Republicans except for two.
Danny Davis is an elected member of our Congress in the House of Representatives.
So is Steve Scalise.
That is not the point. It is his duty and his responsibility to defend and protect the constitutional rights of all Americans. To associate with someone like Louis Farrakhan, who advocates for black supremacy, who has called for the death of a whole race of people based on the color of their skin, who has called for the brutal murder of people based off of their sexual orientation, do you really want to be making excuses for a Democratic member of Congress and 21 others who won't repudiate this man?
I made no such excuses.
You pivoted immediately.
Were unacceptable. Unacceptable. That's right. That's right, I pivoted because you're trying to say that the Democratic Party has some kind of problem with racism, and that's absurd. The racist campaign of Donald Trump would have made George Wallace proud, and he won the presidency and the nomination of his party.
Let me put this in a more simple manner. Do you not have a problem with 21 members of Congress, regardless of their party? Let's just pretend for a moment that they aren't Democrats. They're just members of Congress. Do you not have a problem with 21 members of Congress associating with a radical hate preacher like Louis Farrakhan? Does that not bother you?
Of course it bothers me. It's terrible. It's absolutely awful. Donald Trump is the president. He's not a preacher.
Why does that bother you?
And
why does it bother you that 21 members of Congress associate with him?
Why does it bother me?
Yeah,
Because
why?
Farrakhan is a hateful person for all the reasons that you said. Farrakhan is somebody who we should not associate with. And I'm going to tell you something. Neither is Donald Trump.
So you don't.
Neither is Donald Trump. He ran for president on hate. And the Republican Party, most of them stand with him. Not everybody, and they give credit for people who didn't, but they stand with him. Steve Scalise embraced David Duke. He's a leader elected by his colleagues.
Congress
They're all
associating
bad.
with a racist, you don't believe that that means the Democrats have a problem with racism?
If the Democrats have a problem with racism, the Republicans have a far worse problem.
Yes or no?
The leader of their party is a racist.
Yes or no?
Of course they have. No, I won't answer that yes or no. They have a problem with racism that is far smaller than that of the Republican Party. Far smaller. So you want to say they both do, that's fine. But the Republicans have a far larger problem because their leader is a racist.
No, what I want to do is call out racism
power that he has.
when I see it and not protect a racist because of my political agenda, as clearly the Congressional Black Caucus is doing right now. That should trouble us all, no matter what political party we're in. Ian, I appreciate you being willing to come on and debate this stuff. I always have fun talking to you. Thanks for being here.